what are we going to be covering? And I want to introduce you. If you haven't come across me before, my name is Cheryl Leong. I am the Chief Freedom Officer of the Growth Hub. I am, most importantly, wife and mum to 2 little rugrats. I am the Chief Freedom Officer, i.e. the CEO of an amazing global team based in the Philippines, Dubai, and also in Australia. Some of you I've met before are part of a property community on Facebook that I was very, very fortunate to be a part of in the last 3 years, which has about close to 12,000 people. And I'm very proud to be able to say that as a team, we've been able to grow a team of over 55 staff globally. I'm a property investor and developer. I also used to be a buyer's agent as well. I used to put together development sites. And then I decided to sort of dive in and develop on my own. So, and also everything I do, it's about social impact. You know, how can we impact through business? How can we impact through the projects that we're doing? And it's all about making a difference in people's lives. So that is me. And who is the Growth Hub? The Growth Hub really stemmed from this notion of combining my passion in property and business with also going, how can I help other property business owners create this level of freedom and control over how they want to run their businesses and how they want to basically have their lives be structured around their businesses. And I've had very many businesses in the past 10 years. I've worked, you know, from when I quit corporate, and the ones that I found that did well was when I was able to build a team around me. And the ones where I really struggled, and these were in the early days when I tried to do everything myself. I had young children at the time, that I found that I really struggled, and the business struggled as well. And so what I want to be able to share from this was like, how could I transform businesses and empower people to achieve more personally, impact greatly, and contribute to making a difference in the lives of others, was this notion of being able to leverage the talents and the strengths of a global team to be able to help businesses in Australia. And at the core of it is around creating this level of freedom, and hence where the Growth Hub has come about. So what are you going to get from today? We're going to find out about what is the problem. What is the problem that a lot of small businesses are having, solopreneurs, small teams? I want to talk you through what we've put together as the model for growth in business. Who is a buyer's agent assistant and why they're a great option for growing your agency? When is the right time to consider a buyer's agent assistant in your agency and also a buyer's agent? And what a trained buyer's agent virtual assistant can do for you. And that's what Gia will be walking you through. And as I mentioned, you got to stay to the end till you get the freebies. I'll just remind you as well, like pop any questions in the comment and the chat section below. I will look at it once in a while, and if I don't, just try to virtually shout at me. So what's the problem that we're facing as business owners, and particularly, you know, if you're running a business by yourself or you're starting up? The truth is that you're probably doing everything in the business. I make the joke that CEO isn't about Chief Executive Officer, it's the Chief Everything Officer. So who here is the Chief Everything Officer in their business at the moment? Make a little comment in the chat. I know that for a long time I was, and it was tough. What's the problem? You can't take on more clients. It's basically you're maxed out and you hit your ceiling. There's only so many clients that you can look after. You're finding it hard to keep up with client care. So what the problem is, I hear for a lot of people is that they've got lots of leads, or they're starting to get lots of leads, but they're also dropping the ball because they don't have the support or the systems in place. So they're almost sort of floundering around going, oh my goodness, I've got these clients here that I've got to service, but then I've got these people who are wanting to be, you know, part of my agency and wanting me to be able to service them, but I can't nurture them, I can't look after them. So that's one of the main problems that I'm seeing for a lot of agencies. You're missing out on deals. Let's be honest, at the moment, I'm sure that a lot of deals are being missed out on, and not necessarily a bad thing because it's a pretty hot market. But the truth is, I've seen, you know, we're noticing if you've got a team behind you and you're able to have them reach out to agents and literally have agents sending you properties that fit your buyer brief, there's less likelihood of you actually missing out on those deals, in which case that means you're in the forefront. And you're not needing to be the one that's staring at whether it's realestate.com or having to reach out to all, you know, off-market properties from agents. You can have someone doing that. You don't have the time to train someone new to help you. That's probably one of the biggest ones that we've come across, but particularly if you've been working on your own and everything's in your head. The thought of actually bringing someone in and having to train them, and the time it takes to train them, is probably, you know, that's probably more painful than the thought of going, I've got too much on, because in your mind you're thinking, oh my goodness, I don't have time to even just slow down to train someone. So what we've noticed from this and what we've put together is this idea of a model for growth. And so we've been able to see those challenges, those problems that we mentioned before. We said you see on the left of the screen, it's the challenge where you're spending all your time working in the business as opposed to on the business. And what does that mean is, you know, I don't have enough time, I'm doing everything, I spend too much time on low value tasks and I can't take on more clients. Or, you know, there's the other challenge around the lack of systems and structure, where everything's in your head and you don't have time to train someone, that you're the bottleneck and people keep asking you how to do things. Or if you were to bring someone into your team, that they'll probably have to ask you how things are done. And then you've got this top challenge where you're unclear about your strategy. You might just be starting out in your business. You need more clients, you need more leads. You're not quite sure how you're marketing or actually niching yourself in your business and what the next steps are for growth. So just looking at this growth model, I'd love to find out what your challenges are. You know, it might be all three, it might just be one. I'd like to just get a gauge of where people in the audience today are, you're sitting in your business. So do you have a challenge with lack of systems? Are you working too much in the business? All of the above, yep. You're just starting up as well, so it's quite likely that it's all of the above. Lack of systems and structure, yep. Time consuming doing comparables on properties, yeah, absolutely. So it's sort of, you know, spending time on low value tasks. My website makes a horrible impression. Yeah, well, you know, but interestingly, not a lot of people are spending a lot of time on websites these days. So that's another thing in itself, you know, what is your personal brand, and what's, you know, how are people aware of you and your brand? So what's the solution around this? And we noticed that we needed these three segments of strategy, superstar team, and systems to be able to bring, you know, basically help your business grow. And so the solution we understood from that most people in a sense knew their strategy, and they might have a business coach, they have got sort of their marketing in place. Today, we're going to talk about how do you make sure that you've got the right systems and the right team, in which case for us here, it's for you to have, you know, an assistant in your business to be able to help you take away all those sorts of the low value tasks so that you can focus on your superpowers, which is talking to the clients, negotiating the deals and sealing the deals when I start to market myself. Absolutely. So who's a buyer's agent assistant? And in this particular situation, it's an assistant that works virtually. So they're basically virtual assistants where you don't need to have a physical office. What's happened over the last 2 years with COVID is that really people are getting quite used to working remotely. And I'd say a lot of buyer's agents that are here today like the ability to be able to create this lifestyle business around wherever you are that you live. A buyer's agent assistant is the focus is around the talent and the skills and the attitude. That's the first thing that you look out for any team member. But something I want to remind everyone is that whatever help that you need in your business, that they're not necessarily going to be unicorns. And what do I mean by that? Because I often hear this where you have a solopreneur who says, can they do social media and then the research and calling agents and all these other things? And really it's a unicorn. Not that someone can't do it. And I know that a lot of you are probably doing these yourself. But the truth is that you want to be able to find someone who is at the core of it able to do 80% of the things in your business. And there's going to be things like whether it's marketing or it's SEO or Google Ads or whatever that might be, that you might need a specialist to be able to do that. So why are virtual assistants, or in this case, buyer's agents assistants, a great option for growing buyer's agencies? Because it's really cost effective to start off with. Having someone virtually is more than half the price of employing someone locally. And before you get sort of go, but shouldn't we be employing people locally? I'll come down to the next point. Being cost effective means that you're able to grow your business quicker and get the help that you need, which then means as well, you're able to create more revenue and then financially able to hire local staff who are able to be in higher income generating roles. For example, another buyer's agent, or if you want someone who is your client you really need them to be local, that allows you to do that because you've got this back end assistance that is a lot more cost effective. There's no need for employee sort of payroll, super or benefits. You just sort of, it's all bundled into one. You don't need the office space, so you're saving money there, and you're able to build a team quicker to grow. What I've noticed that a lot of small businesses, the scary truth is that we're under-resourced. If it wasn't for a team that supported me, I wouldn't be able to do a third of the things that I'm able to do now. And when I tried to do it all by myself, I exhausted myself and wore myself out. But the point of going, okay, I'm ready to have some help, but this may seem a little bit sort of like, yeah, that makes sense. But are you ready to let go and ready to allow yourself to delegate tasks to someone? Because where I found that people found really challenging when bringing on a team was when they still had this need to have a level of control. And so what we need to be able to do as business owners is start having this mindset of, stop the doing and start leading. Whether that's leading a team of buyer's agents or leading a team of virtual assistants or basically whatever, both, right? We need to go from the doing to the leading. But it might be that at this stage in your business that you've got to do most of the doing, right? Because we've got to set all our systems up. We've got to be able to make sure that we know what we're doing and building that personal brand. But if your intention is to be able to create a level of freedom that you can step away from your business, we've got to move into this mindset of how do I lead people and how do I create an ecosystem that allows the business to run without me. So are you ready to let go? Are you ready to be the only person that can do this job well? And if so, you're ready. And you have to look at the tasks that are in your business and ask yourself, is this a task that's repetitive or will reoccur again in the future? And if it is, it's probably something that you can create into a process, right? That someone else can follow. Is doing the task the best use of my time? We talked about low value and high value tasks. Your high value tasks are the ones that should be bringing in the dollars. And then the low value tasks are the ones that support the high value task outcome. Like I said, doing the sales comparisons or even shortlisting properties. Does the task provide an opportunity to grow and develop another person's skills? So I'm always looking for opportunities to be able to grow someone professionally. So being able to let go is not about losing control. It's also around how can I build someone up so that they're going to take more off my plate. And am I ready to let go? Am I drowning in work? And if that's a yes, it's probably a good time where you sort of go, I think I'm not ready. So how do you work out what you should delegate? I've just created this you might have seen this before. I call it the high value, low value quadrant, where you need to identify in your business, and you may be thinking about your business at the moment, what are my high value tasks and what are our low value tasks? I'd love for you who, if you're thinking about your business at the moment, what do you think are your high value tasks? The tasks that bring in the money, pop it in the chat as well. I'd love to see what your thoughts are. The ones that bring in the money, is it the negotiation? Is it the finding of the deals? See, the high value tasks are the ones that are in that A box on the right, where you should be the one that's doing that. You, or if you've got someone else as another buyer's agent doing that. The low value task, which could be something like putting a post up on social media. Like it needs to be done, but it's not really the best use of your time. And that's where you work out if it should be delegated, because it may still be something that you enjoy, but it's low value. Look at delegating that, or being able to manage someone that you can pass it on to. If it's high value, but it's something that you're not particularly great at, it might say, for example, Facebook ads, Google ads, look at delegating that or outsourcing. So when you're outsourcing, you're getting someone that might be a marketing company or whatever that might be. So Jeff says, yep, high value is dealing directly with clients, writing newsletters. Yep, that's fantastic. Newsletters are really, really powerful because it really helps you communicate who you are and your voice, and people connect with you. Absolutely. But there are some people who aren't particularly skilled at that, and they're not really skilled, but it's a high value task. That's where you look at outsourcing it. And the question, do you have systems and processes in place of how your business operates? I've been talking to a few people, and they're actually here today around how does your business work? And how many of you here have, you know how your business works, but it's in your head? I know I can't see your hands up, but just sort of a yes or no. Do you have systems and processes? Have you written down systems of how your business works, what happens at each step? And so that when someone comes on board, you have, basically something there in your head. Yeah, for most of us, it's in our head. And it's only when we're forced to put it down so that someone else can do it that it becomes apparent that we really need to look at systemizing our business. I have a lucid chart. Well done. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, creating what your sort of workflow is, that's a fantastic start. And that's getting you to start thinking that you're not going to be the only person in your business, that someone's going to have to come in and understand how you do things in your business, which then allows you to delegate tasks to someone easier. And then more importantly, if you need to step away from the business, and I'm talking about like even for a holiday, or you might want to take a month away when you can actually when you can travel, having systems and processes allows you to do that. I also used the first time I did a task and saved it as a template. Excellent. That means that, again, when someone hops into your business, that they're already going to be able to see, like, all right, template, fantastic. I know what to do in this particular instance. So we do help business owners with what we call the grow with the flow, and that's identifying the top 10 areas in their business and creating workflows for them. So you can take a little bit of a snapshot around these. These we've found for most businesses, and also in obviously particularly with buyers agencies, that these are the 10 areas of the operational side of the business that needs to be systemized out. So all the way from when you have clients that come in to the business to when you have reviews and repeat business, and it goes back up again. And what we've helped a lot of businesses with is having an in-house learning and development system. So if you don't already have some sort of training in place, for example, if you've got templates, that's fantastic, but you still need to be able to teach someone how to use those templates, right? And what we've been able to put together, and we've noticed, is that if we're able to train and give someone a training system and have them start with a buyer's agent, they're able to kick off pretty much in the first few days, because they've seen what they've seen. They know what the workflows are, and we'll show you in a moment what that workflow looks like. And they're able to ask the right questions, and everything's familiar because they've gone through that process already. So this is the fun bit, that this is what we effectively based our learning and development training around. We sat down and thought, how can a buyer's agent assistant help? And we looked at the whole process of that strategic piece. I probably should add marketing to that as well. How can we help in the strategy part of the business? How can we help with research, shortlisting, evaluation, negotiation, and securing? And effectively, we identified that there were all these tasks for a buyer's agent that could be delegated to someone else. And even if they were sort of more, you might not think they were significant tasks, the fact is that if you're able to delegate a 5-minute task and there's 100 of them in your week, that's 500 minutes of your time that you saved in your week from having to do that. And I often, the analogy of death by 1,000 cuts always comes to mind when I think of that. So we looked at things like, how can we create a buyer's brief or do research on properties based on that particular buyer brief, and collate a database of the properties that fit the buyer's criteria, which then allows you as the buyer's agent to assess. Putting together the documentation. So if you've got property reports, can someone put them together for you if you've got a particular template and format that's done? Also, even, drafting feasibility studies if you're in the development space, or even with investing. Often you've got investor calculations. Someone can put that in, at least the core and the basic information in for you. coordinating building and pest inspections, settlement milestones, post-settlement. So from this, we've been able to basically pull out what we call the buyer agent workflow and step by step identify and create a level of training that we now deliver. And Gia, who is here with us, hopefully Gia is here with us, and she's going to walk you through the training that a buyer's agent assistant goes through the Growth University, but also to give you an idea as to what are the tasks that you can offload and delegate to someone in your business. Gia is a mum to little boy Roro, who is very, very cute, and she trains all our awesome scholars. She'll walk you through an overview of the training roadmap and the specific task in the buyer's agent workflow, and also the assessment that we take during that training to identify the superstar champions that end up working directly with buyer's agents. So Gia, I might have to stop my screen share and that you can hop on as well.
Sure, let me share my screen. Hi, good evening to everyone. I'm Gia. Yep. Let me just share my screen real quick.
So I just wanted to let everyone know this is a part of the training modules that champions go through. So this gives you a bit of an insight as to the type of training that goes along. And however, this is only sort of a small segment. Gia and the coaches go into more detail at each of the steps. Is that right, Gia?
Perfect. Yep, that's correct, Cheryl.
Over to you.
All right, so I'll go ahead and start. What I'll be discussing today is just a bit of the virtual assistant tasks in the buyer's agent workflow. So we actually create a flow chart of the whole buyer's agent workflow, as you can see here on the screen. So I'm going to discuss each one, starting from the lead generation. What would be the task that your VA or virtual assistant can help you with? So we're training them to build database of real estate agents. So this is for property leads. We're also training them to do social media creation and postings to the buyer's agents' different social media platforms. So that's included in lead generation too. Lead magnet creation in Canva. So doing infographics, guides, ebook. So it's also included in the training, as well as newsletter and email template. So the champion will create a template, will format and schedule the sending to the leads or the subscribers. So that would be the topic that we're teaching our champions for the first part, lead generation. So let's move on with the next part. So we have the 3 parts for the buyer's agent workflow. We have the client onboarding process, shortlisting of properties, and then contract. So the first part would be the client onboarding process. Here's what your VA can help the buyer's agent with. So we are training them to create a calendar booking account for client. So all the setup included, and we're using Calendly in training. We're teaching them how to set it up, link it to your Google Calendar, link it to your Zoom account and all that. So this can all be used in the client onboarding process. Aside from that, we're also teaching them how to add clients' information on your CRM or any task management tool, creating client folders, and then sending a welcome email for new clients. So for the welcome email, this is just to set an expectation to your new home buyers or clients. So we have a template that we're using to actually teach the VAs. So that's for the client onboarding process. So we also have a separate topic for buyer brief, which I know is very, very important in getting property leads once you already have your clients. So we're teaching our VAs to actually create a buyer brief in Canva through social media posts, stories, and LinkedIn and all the other platforms, so that they know how they can be able to get properties through social media. And aside from that, we're also teaching them on how to create a list of buyer briefs that will be used for email blast. So if you have lots of clients, they can be able to create a template on your CRM and send the buyer brief to all the contacts for real estate agents so that they can be able to give you properties that you need for each client. So that's also part of the training with this part, buyer brief topic. So next would be the second part, the shortlisting properties, which I love. So we're teaching our VAs to actually check properties online. So by the use of the mainstream property websites, realestate.com, domain.com. So sometimes it's easy to use, but you know, if you really don't know the websites, there are times that it can be hard. So teaching them the basics can be able to ease what do you call it, the task when they are paired up with a client already. Another one is, this is just the same, posting the buyer briefs on the social media accounts of the buyer's agent, as well as creating an email template containing the buyer brief for email blast. Another part of shortlisting is calling agents for properties that can match the buyer brief. We have an example mock call script that we're using. And we're doing like a mock call situation. We're pairing one VA to another to do the calling as an example in the training. So we have a script that we're using with that. And the last part is arranging letter drop to suburb or location that is targeted. So for arranging letter drop, we're teaching them how to generate ownership reports. So that's the first thing. Second one, we're using Stash. So if you heard of Stash, I know we all heard of Stash actually, to use to ease sending mails to all of the report in the ownership part. So that's part of shortlisting properties. These are all can be learned in the TGU or the Growth University training. So on to the property reports and tools. So we're actually discussing all of these tools that you could see here. So Brisbane City Council e-planning portal, New South Wales and Vic planning portal. So we're teaching our VAs to check the zoning, the contour, flooding, bushfire, including the frontage read. So they all know that when they graduated with the Growth University. Aside from that, we're also teaching them how to navigate the most common property apps or platforms like BAVA, Price Finder. We also have ArchiStar, again, Stash, and the Dial Before You Dig website for generating the reports as well. And part of the property report, so for comparative market analysis, we're teaching them on how to generate these reports that can be helped to do the CMA reporting using the tools, RP Data and Price Finder. Also, we're teaching them how to do Dial Before You Dig reports, what you need to save on those files. And this one is just a new topic that was added in the Growth University. So due diligence overview report and info pack. I know some of the buyer's agents are actually doing this for their clients, developer clients. So we added that on the topic, as well as generating the development approval plans and approved conditions. So this is also a new topic that was added in the Growth University. So that would be for property reports and tools. So we're now on to the third part of the topic. So we have contracts. So what can your VA help you with if it's in the contract part? So they can send a due diligence email template. So we have that in the training to the client after contract. so that they would know what to do next. So setting up date for building and pest report, property insurance, removal list, so connection of service, and also coordinating with the conveyancer and all of that. That would be for contract. So we have a specific like template that we are using for the due diligence email. All right. They also will learn about the key dates. So they will know what the BNP date means, initial date, initial payment, balance due, finance due, settlement, and what to do with the key dates. So they can also set up settlement inspections with the agent, the buyer, buyer's agent, and or the buyer itself. And adding the dates on the buyer's agent's calendar to send an invite to the client. So all of that is part of the third part would be contract. Oh, another one is ordering settlement gifts. So we're giving them like examples of websites in Australia that they can order. Why do they need to order? So all of that topics is included. Informing the buyer's agent about the upcoming settlement. And again, sending a congratulatory email template and ensuring that the gift is received by the client. So for the last part, we have social media management. This is after settlement. So we are teaching them on how to create a template for just purchase post, purchase of the week, success post, sending. This is optional, but we're also teaching them on how to send a retainer fee, initial invoice, success fee, after unconditional. So if you would like for your VA to actually do this type of task, then they know how to do it as well. Another one is requesting a testimonial or Google review from the clients and the real estate agents too. So we have templates as well that we're using that we are showing our VAs. Last two would be sending a thank you note or gift to any referred partner on each client, and sending an anniversary gift or cards to the clients. So that would be the end of the whole VA tasks in the buyer's agent workflow. But aside from that, we actually have other topics included. We're teaching them the basic CRM training. So we have MailChimp and additional Zoho. We actually have a customized Zoho for buyer's agents, which is really exciting. So we're about to actually teach them tomorrow for the internal team. So I'm pretty excited about that. Again, we're teaching them how to build a database of real estate agents, the most common property terms and definition, common housing types, house styles in Australia, the roles in property, so mortgage broker, town planner, what are they? So it's included on this topic. And again, how to get the DA and final plans. So we all know there's a lot of council sites in Australia, and sometimes it's really, if you're not located in Australia, it's really hard to actually check the site. So we're actually training them on how to get the council site for each council. And the last part would be creating a due diligence overview and report and info pack. So I just want to show you guys an example. Just give me one moment. I just wanted to show you guys an example of batch. We currently have 5 batches already in the Growth University. And these are their work, due diligence report work. Okay, so in training, I'm giving them each one an example address. So they need to create their own due diligence overview template, their brand colors and everything. And then this is what will come up in Canva. So the property details are here, and they know how to get all of the property details because that's learned in training as well. Yeah, I just want to show you guys the output, property features. Let's go ahead and check one more. Oh, this one. So this is another example of a due diligence overview, which I like very much. So they can actually change it to your brand or company brand color. So if you want to do this type of due diligence overview. So they actually learned that in training as well. All right, so let me just go back to hold on. So okay, so regarding scorecard, we actually have a scorecard in the university. So at the end of the training, we compile all of their scores and we grade them based on their attendance. So that's 10%. We check if they are punctual, if they are late. So that kind of attitude can be checked in the Growth University. 80% will come from their outputs, activities, or quizzes. So on every topic, they have a quiz or output-based assessment that they need to do. So that's for us to actually gauge how they understand each topics. And the last 10% would be coming from feedback from coaches. So this is more on regarding their attitude towards training. Are they participative, suggestive, or they're sharing their ideas in the training? So this is how we know if they are the whole package. So not all of them are passing the training. So we have some that did not make the end of the training. So that's how we can be able to filter our champions before pairing them up with a buyer's agent. So that's actually the end of my slide. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gia. And I'd love for you to please join me in congratulating Gia. I think you've had a few people here that want to join the Growth University now, Gia. So I said they'll have to pass a very, very stringent interview process. Well done. It was fantastic. And this is the thing, Gia and our other coach, Janine, and also Michelle. Gia in particular put the core of this training together. And we're always looking and we're getting feedback not only from our clients, but our current champions around the tools that they need to get training on. Zoho, for example. So we work really closely. Gia is taken, Rod. I'm sorry, you cannot have her. You know, we, for example, the team's going to be going through Zoho training. So Shankar has set up the buyer's agent CRM for us to environment so that our BAVAs can go through and get really accustomed to how to really support you in CRMs. Because we know a lot of people don't really like CRMs, you know, the techie side of things. You just want to go out and look at properties and get properties. So this is really invaluable training and all the other tools. You know, I'm so impressed with the team because you can only imagine it's not the easiest thing to understand property or business in a different country, let alone the tools that need to be used to do it. So thank you, Gia, so much for that. Congratulations and well done. So I'll continue on my side. I'm probably not as impressive as Gia. I feel a bit bad now. Oh, good. Thank you, Gia. There we go. And I just want to highlight the tools that we used as well. So Gia did highlight some of the tools that they do use in the training. And so whether it's Price Finder, Archistar, CoreLogic, so RP data, the team does do a bit of training around using council websites and Dial Before You Dig. Stash Property was another one that we mentioned that we use a lot for clients who that do a lot of letter drops, because Stash has almost like a basic CRM function in there. And also, another thing that we're really proud of is that we do align ourselves with our growth partners. And you probably notice some, and we recognize some of these names who are people who are quite, I was going to say influential, not only influential, but bring really great value to the buyer's agent community. So Buyer's Agent Institute, game plans, we work quite closely with Jordan there. Systems Down Under, obviously with Zoho. Tony Meredith coaches a lot of our clients as well. And you've got websites. If your website looks a little bit abysmal, and I know someone did mention that, Cheetah Web Services are our go-to people. And Law Lab, if you're looking for an amazing conveyancer that's across Australia, Law Lab have been our go-to for quite a few years now. So excellent. So basically, I mean, as we come towards a close to this session, you can see our main focus comes back down to this growth model. How can we make sure that we've got talent which are trained in the things that you need? And how do we help you as well create the systems in your business so that you can deliver, capture, and automate? And then what is your strategy? You know, what is your strategy for growing and positioning yourself? What is your vision for your business, and how do you execute that? And by being able to combine the talent, the systems, the strategy, that's what allows you to grow. So who feels and is blown away by the amount of tasks and functions a virtual assistant can help with in your agency? Just want to leave you here with a bit of a quote. And I always talk about the success of any business is around the team that you have. And I'm very, very proud of the team that we have and the champions that are supporting the businesses that we work with. So coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. Henry Ford. You're getting there, and you'll need a VA. Yeah, and you know, there will be a time when you've got to do most of the stuff because you're really building up your business, but you at some point you'll have to look at what sort of help can I get to be able to get to the next level. So for those of you who stayed with us today, we've got some freebies for you. So we've got the VA task and the VA workflow. So the whole presentation that Gia has just presented to us, we'll send that to you in an email tomorrow. And also one of our ebooks, the 5 efficiency hacks for real estate and property professionals, just to say a thank you. So particularly with the VA task and the VA workflow, I know that we went through that fairly quickly. It'll allow you to sort of sit down and go, okay, if I need to delegate tasks, what are the things that we know that the Growth Hub have trained their virtual assistants on, and that you can offload. So that's going to be a great little freebie there. And effectively, that brings us to the end of our presentation and our webinar. I'd love to hear any questions, and please feel free to shoot them out in the comments. Where will we find the cost service options, please? Yeah, sure, not a problem. We've got Catherine here. If you'd like to hop on and have a chat to Catherine, because first of all, we've got to make sure that it's the right sort of solution for you, depending on where you are in the life cycle of your business. So I'm going to pop it in the chat here. Where is... Discovery. Cool. If you'd like to find out a little bit more, feel free to book in a call. Is it going to be charged cost per client? Not quite sure what you mean there, Danny. But yeah, you can have a chat with either myself or Catherine. Catherine's one of our growth specialists, and that link there. Again, it's really, there's no pressure or anything else. There are times when we do tell people you're not quite ready to bring on someone, because it's really important that your business is set up from the beginning. However, if you're right at the very beginning, when we do have a solution there as well, we can help you build out your systems and your workflow. So that's what we call the grow with the flow. And we do have some people that are here today who are starting with that before they bring on a virtual assistant as well. So that whether it's a virtual assistant, whether it's another buyer's agent, they've got their workflow in place and it's absolutely clear as to who is, the roles and responsibilities. So yeah, like I said, really important. If you just want to ask some questions around that, you may be ready, you may not be ready. That's totally okay. But just hop on a call if you'd like to find out a little bit more about how it could help you and hopefully be very valuable in helping you grow. So